It was a snowy, cold evening in Kalispell, Montana, just days before Christmas. Edward was returning home from work, awfully stressed. He knew, as soon as he would walk through the door, it would be the start of another argument with Elizabeth. But their relationship hadn't always been like this. Once, they were truly happily married. Parking into the driveway of his house, he stared out for a while before he let out a heavy sigh and finally got off. Locking his car, he grabbed his bag and the package from the back seat. Slowly opening the door, he stepped in, finally out of the harsh winds. But as he expected, hearing the door, Elizabeth walked out with her arms crossed. "Did you send the package?" "I went to the BI delivery service after work, but they closed early because of the weather, so I couldn't send it out." "Edward, you always do this. Whenever it comes to doing something for my family, you find every excuse. My family has no priority to you. What do you expect me to do in this weather? I'll go as soon as they open up again." "Right. It was my brother. That's why you didn't give it any importance. If it was important to you, you would have found a way. You could have gone early." "Elizabeth, it's really not like that. I don't know why I ever agreed to marry someone like you. Marrying you was my biggest mistake. My dad was right about you." As Elizabeth went on and on like she did every time, Edward sighed as he hung his coat on the hanger. "Elizabeth, stop. I just came home. I'm tired." Putting his bag and the package down on the table, he sat down on the sofa and tried to relax. But just within a while, Elizabeth stormed into the room, pulling out her car keys from the shelf, and picked up the package. "Give it to me. You don't have to do anything. I'll mail it myself." Edward got up, now irritated by how Elizabeth was being. "I said I'll post it tomorrow." He grabbed onto the package, but Elizabeth wouldn't let go. And as she tried to pull back, she suddenly lost her grip and fell. There was a loud sound as she hit her head on the sharp corner of the fireplace. All of a sudden, Edward noticed the floor pooling up with red. "Elizabeth? Elizabeth!" he said, shaking his wife. But Elizabeth gave no response. Edward called out to her. He tried to stop the bleeding, but with every passing second, her skin grew paler and paler. "It's over. Just like that?" Edward stared at the body of his wife. He was devastated. What just happened? This was where the relationship had come to an end? Edward and Elizabeth knew each other since their high school years. But it wasn't until they were in college that they got into a relationship. They were in love with each other, and they got along well. But Elizabeth was from a very wealthy family, and her parents didn't like Edward, as he belonged to a middle-class family. Edward's father was a plumber. But this didn't matter to Elizabeth. Nothing could break them apart. And eventually, through her stubbornness, Elizabeth got her parents to agree. And despite her parents' disapproval, Edward and Elizabeth then got married. And though struggling at first, it was through the recommendation of her father that Edward got a job at the BII bank. But it was after that his in-laws began to look down on him, as the only reason he got the job was because of his father-in-law. And soon, even Elizabeth started to get poisoned by their words. You could have done so much better, Elizabeth. Not long after, their relationship started to get strained. But even in all this, Edward tried to patch things up, as losing Elizabeth would mean losing everything. And above all, there was a time when she truly loved him. But now, everything was over. What am I going to do? Edward paced around, trying to think, trying not to panic. Should I call the police? No. What if everything goes against me? Her family, when they know, they will all start blaming me. They'd make everything seem worse. But it wasn't my fault. What do I do? Just then, the phone rang up. With hesitation, Edward anxiously picked up. Hello, Elizabeth? It was his mother-in-law. It's Edward. Oh, you. Are you guys coming over for Christmas? Yeah, we were just about to head out. Elizabeth's still getting ready. She's in the bathroom. We're planning to drive overnight, so we'll probably reach there in the morning. All right then, I'll see you guys in the morning. Putting down the phone, Edward let out a deep breath. Now what? Now what? They're waiting for us. What else could I have said? She would have made a scene out of it if I said we weren't coming. But now what's gonna happen if we don't show up? I have to do something. I have to get rid of her body. Maybe if I take her far out, throw her in the woods, tell them she went missing. But how am I going to get her in the car? The luggage. Edward pulled out the biggest luggage they had and got Elizabeth into it. With much struggle, he managed to get the luggage up on its wheels, but it was extremely heavy. Rolling the luggage out, Edward opened the front door. But as soon as he stepped out, he froze seeing his neighbor, Mr. Wilson, shoveling the snow by his front yard. Seeing him, Mr. Wilson waved. "Hey Johnson, where are you going in the snow?" he said, walking over. "Hello, Mr. Wilson." "Wow, that's a big luggage." "Yeah, Elizabeth and I were going over to her parents' place for Christmas. But there's still 5 days till Christmas. Elizabeth wanted to spend the entire holidays there." "Well then, happy holidays with the family. Where's the missus?" "She's not home. I'm going to pick her up from the mall and then we'll get going." "She's out? But her car is still parked." "Yes, she walked over there." "In the snow? I didn't see her." "You probably didn't notice. What is it? Have you been spying on my wife?" No, it's not like that. It's just that I've been cleaning the snow all this time and I didn't see her." Edward gave the man a look before he started pulling the luggage to the car. But just as he tried to lift it onto the trunk, he lost his grip and the luggage fell. Edward hurried to pick it up when Mr. Wilson rushed forward. "Oh, it must be very heavy. Let me help you with that." "No, I can do it myself." Mr. Wilson stood back, staring at Edward struggle with the luggage. But he finally got it in, and in a hurry, got into the car and pulled off. What's wrong with him? I was only trying to help. What a strange man. Edward drove along the icy road. The streets were pretty much empty. The weather had gotten worse, and the snowfall made it difficult to see too far. Edward looked out, staring at the pine trees that sway in the wind. It's so windy out. Elizabeth used to love the snow. Edward remembered the old days when he and Elizabeth started dating. Around Christmas, she would always drink her special cocoa from the BII cafe and get him one too. Come on, Ed, let's go. Elizabeth, it's snowing so much. Couldn't we stay in? Where's your holiday spirit? It's so beautiful out. There's nothing like warming up to hot cocoa on a day like this. It had become a tradition for them. But now, they were only memories. It's never gonna be like that again. Edward drove onto the highway, anxiously trying to think of a way. What am I going to do with her? If I throw her out in the woods, in the snow, her body won't decompose. They'll find her in the summer. No, I can't do this. I'll get caught. In the heavy gusts, Edward could barely see far. It was all of a sudden he noticed a car almost headed his way. He immediately swerved the car around, avoiding the accident by just a little. His heart raced as he let out a breath, getting control on the car again, but that's when he got it. Yes, accident. She had an accidental death. Edward figured this was the only way. He had to fake an accident. He stepped on the accelerator, driving on, looking for a perfect spot. But a while down the road, he saw flashing lights behind him. His blood ran cold when he spotted a police officer following him. As the officer signaled him, Edward had no choice but to pull over. Good evening, sir. Officer Jameson. Can I have your license and registration? Sure, Edward said, trying his best to maintain his composure. What is the matter, officer? Your taillights aren't working. Oh, that's strange. Can you please open the trunk so I can take a look at it? Edward froze, hearing the officer. But remaining calm, he stepped out with his key and walked towards the trunk with him. Edward intentionally jammed the wrong key into the lock. Seems like it got stuck. Let me see. The officer got hold of the key and tried opening it, but it obviously wasn't going to work. Looks like the key got jammed in. Perhaps because of the weather. Where are you going? I was headed over to my family for Christmas. There's a gas station not too far ahead. Get your taillights fixed there, otherwise you might have an accident. Yes, of course. I'll get them fixed. Thank you, officer. With that, Edward hurried onto the car and pulled off again. Keeping an eye on his rearview mirror, watching as the light of the officer's motorcycle soon faded behind him. The roads were now empty in front of him, and probably he wasn't going to fall in the way of anyone again. How do I do the accident? How do I make it seem real? Within a while of driving, the snow was getting really heavy, and it was becoming difficult to drive. Before Edward could actually plan things out, suddenly his tires began to slip, and the car crashed. It was around 8 p.m. when the police and the paramedics reported to a car crash on Highway Route 89. Officer Jamesons arrived upon getting the news and was quite shocked by the incident. "I saw this car before. I warned him to be careful. His taillights weren't working. Perhaps that's how the car crashed. Is he all right?" Unfortunately, the man passed away, but his wife survived. His wife? I didn't see anyone with him. Officer Jameson turned around to spot a young woman at the ambulance. In this weather, she's just wearing regular clothes? Yes, I also found it strange. The two officers went to inquire Elizabeth. "How did this happen?" Elizabeth looked at them, a little dazed. I don't remember." "Getting out the first aid," the nurse said. "The injury on her head has probably caused amnesia." Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.